A project that aims at formalizing the current national fair trade network of small-scale agro and handicraft producers. The project works to empower the small-scale marginalized producers with the sustainable force needed to give them access to basic socio-economic rights. The SER network is currently comprised of 4,000 individuals from the governorates of Aswan, Qina, Sohag, Asyut, Minya, Fayoum, Cairo, Helwan, Giza, Sharqiya, Bahira, South Sinai, North Sinai, Matruh, and the Red Sea.
The project called Socio-Economic Rights for Small-Scale Producers, and basically we are more concerned about the handicrafts producers and a small-scale level of agriculture producers. And this project started in year 2000 and it will be finished by mid-2013, and we do different interventions with those producers.
The project incorporates into the core of Ayadi Masriya's structure the setup of a producer representation and participation unit, a business development services unit, and finally a social welfare services unit. This is done through the reinforcement of Ayadi Masriya's capacity to administer the network and, most importantly, through the producers' development of their own foundation membership scheme, via which they will be able to represent themselves, develop the services they want to receive, and negotiate as a unique voice for the accession of small-scale producers to their socio-economic rights. Small-Scale Producers Network for Socio-Economic Rights Recognition, or SER, is financed by the Italian-Egyptian Debt for Development swap program and implemented by COSPE in partnership with Ayadi Masriya.
Debt swap means that the Italian government cancels the debt of Egypt that should be reimbursed to Italy. It is cancelled, it is not reimbursed. And it is used, it is kept in the country, in Egypt, and it is used to finance development projects.
How different is it from other 8 programs?
It is different. It's an innovative instrument of financing. Instead of using grants, there is a real partnership among the two governments. We jointly decide, we jointly manage the projects, and we jointly agree and select the projects. Aimed mainly to promote social and economic development in Egypt.
The project contributes to the improvement of living conditions of small-scale producers through fair trade practices. That is what made an organization such as COSPE be involved.
COSPE is an Italian NGO, that means a non-governmental organization, established in Italy in 1983 according to the Italian law and regulation. And the COSPE, the name, it stands for Cooperation for Development in Emerging Countries. COSPE actually it's working in both, either in Italy and in emerging countries. So we are collaborating with countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, of course. And actually the main aim of COSPE is promoting a concept of fair and sustainable development.
And the concept of fair trade is what brings the Italian foundation COSPE with its partner in implementing the SER project from the Egyptian side. Ayadi Masriya, registered with the Ministry of Social Solidarity in 2007, works towards fair trade with a social responsibility with marginalized handicraft and agro-producer groups and producers. But of course, and despite the achievements of the project, it is facing difficulties.
Welcome back. Small-Scale Producers for Socio-Economic Rights Recognition, or SER, is the project financed by the Italian-Egyptian Department for Development swap program and implemented by COSPE in partnership with Ayadi Masriya. This project aims at formalizing the current national fair trade network. And with us this morning is Marina Arakel, COSPE representative in Egypt, and Mr. Bassem Sarofim, SER project manager. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Marina. So I wanted to start with you, and you mentioned in the report we just saw in your interview that the concept of fair trade brought partners together in the SIR project. Could you explain more about fair trade and the benefits of it?
Yeah, well, actually, fair trade is a kind of a wide way to rethinking about all the production chain and trade chain compared with the one we are used to. And even more in this era of globalized trading and commerce and production chain. Actually, fair trade is basically meaning a kind of process where all the actors, the stakeholders, let's say in the different phase of the chain, so from the producer to the traders to the consumers, are assured somehow about the quality standards of the products they are producing or buying, and they can rely on fair condition. So for the producers, it means that they can rely on a fair income gaining for their production. So it's basically fighting against the spreading between the difference, the unfair difference that you can often find among what the producers are paid and the traders on the market can instead gaining for selling these products. And of course it implies as well that all the people that is working in the chain has to rely on a kind of international quality standard for the work condition. It implies the labor rights, but as well a kind of a health condition for the work and safe condition for the works. The concept of fair trade applies as well at the materials you are using in the production. So the way you are using the raw materials, the quality of the raw materials, and the way you take into consideration a kind of long-term sustainable use of these materials. And it implies as well a kind of long-term trusting relation among the different actors of the chain. So the producers, the traders, the consumers at the end of the chain. They are somehow aware about the story of the products they are buying. So the different phase of the chain, who is producing the product, where it's produced, and who are the people, more or less, the groups involved in the production. Usually fair trade implies that the producers are not really running as individuals, but they used to get into kind of association cooperatives, because working as a groups make it easier for them to gain more fair condition, to strive for a better price on the market, just increase their power to be a group rather than just be individual producers.
Mr. Bassem, how is SIR project helping in promoting or making the concept of fair trade in Egypt popular?
And have you been successful in actually implementing this?
Yeah, in fact, we started the fair trade promotion in Egypt since year 2000 with COSPE, and there are different initiatives to promote the fair trade. One of these last initiative that we had in Egypt, which is SIR project, and what we are trying to do through the SIR project is creating a network of different artisans, different producers at the national level. And the main idea behind this is to serve or to have three main interventions. One intervention related to what we call and representations, and this is fitting the fair trade criteria. What Marina was saying, that the producers, the artisans can come together and create their own network. So through the Ayadi Masriya Foundation, the producers will become an official member inside this association, and then they will be able to represent themselves. So they can talk to different actors, different stakeholders like government, like donors, like traders, businesses, doing their own marketing, national and international. So the first intervention that we had in order to make sure that the fair trade principles are applied is this representations of the artisans themselves. So they can voice out their needs, their issues, their challenges, not to have someone speaking on their behalf. So this is the first criteria that we have to apply in order to make sure that the fair trade is applied in Egypt, is to have the representation. The second one is what we call social welfare services. And through the social welfare services, we are taking care of the human aspects. So the producers, the artisans who are behind those products that we saw in the exhibition, on the exhibition that we have. We do some kind of like health insurance system, like social insurance, like maybe taking care of their health issues. So we give attention to the social aspects of the artisans, and this goes all under the social services. And even within this, we take care of the working conditions, and this is one of the main criteria of fair trade, is improving the working conditions of the artisans, making sure that they are working in the right conditions, in healthy conditions, in a safe environment, and so on. The third intervention that we had to make sure that the fair trade is applied is the business development services. And under the business development service, we are taking care of the products itself. So we do kind of products development, products quality control, new designs, and the most important thing, and this was the value added of our intervention in Egypt, is the marketing. It was very good for the, it was easy for the producers to have some products to produce. So to produce different, carpets, leather products, and so on. But then it was very difficult for them to market it. So one of the main interventions that we had is doing this marketing initiatives, and we are doing this through Fair Trade Network at the national and international level. So we do have some showrooms or retail shops in Egypt that is promoting the products of fair trade. And through the international fair trade network, we are trying to do some export. For example, currently we have 2 connections to Italy and US, where we can export some of our products.
And as Marina mentioned, she said fair trade is more about group work rather than just working on the individual level. So how have you been successful in kind of inciting these individual artists to kind of group work and work together with others? Have they been willing to cooperate in order to kind of abide by the principles of free trade?
You know, in fact, is not easy process, because the key principle of fair trade, they are around 10 principles of fair trade. They're talking about improving working conditions, fair prices, women's rights, social rights, and so on. So we have been in this process for the last 10 years, and we are trying to promote the concepts within the artisans, but even within the Egyptian community and at the different level of the stakeholders in Egypt. In the beginning, we faced a lot of challenges, a lot of difficulties. It's not easy from the artisans to accept, like for example, we don't have a child labor, for example. Some of the things, maybe some of the products, it has to engage some of the children. So one of the things we try to do is to eliminate this, and it took some time from us to convince the artisans to eliminate the child labor, for example, in their businesses. The working conditions issue, it's quite away from the mentality of the producers, so also took some time. And as a project, or as with COSPE, we try to facilitate this by giving them some maybe equipment, some tools that can help in improving the working conditions. So it's kind of incentives in order for them to apply the fair trade. The good incentives that we try to do with the artisans to apply the fair trade is the marketing issue. I mean, once they saw that there are some opportunities, there are marketing channels that would increase their sales, and then it will increase their income, they were willing to apply some of the fair trade principles. Of course, it took some time, but still we are in the process. And regarding the group, we are working with 3,500 individual artisans across the country in 14 governorates, or starting from Halab and Shalatin, Aswan, Ena, Sohag, and then going to Siwa, North Sinai, South Sinai. And we're trying to organize all of them in one umbrella organization, which is Ayadi Masriya Foundation.
Right. Marina, tell me, of course there is an economic crisis prevailing all over the world, but did that seem dangerously threatening to you, thinking of implementing the idea or the concept of fair trade?
Well, sure, there is in general less, let's say, less money circulating and more slowly, but I would say that it's not particularly affecting this niche market. I mean, not more than the others. I mean, the other level of the market. No, I would say no. No. Not particularly for what we get to know till now. Then you know that there's kind of consideration you have to measure even on the long term. So, but I would say no. While probably
this general increasing of the price around is reducing even the difference, let's say, in the level of the prices among the standard markets, the ordinary markets, and the fair trade markets. So maybe no, it's not very negatively affecting.
And how did you see that in the transitional period Egypt is going through, especially that we are approaching an economic crisis? Were you threatened?
Well, I guess what Egypt can, let's say, pay more as a crisis is the fact that it was relying a lot on tourism as a source of income for the country. So this is what can, from my point, mainly affect the country. Within this, of course, there is a share for the fair trade, because even tourists, people coming from abroad, they used to buy artisans' products, and fair trade is relying on this kind of consumers. But more than that, more than this part related to what is the income coming from the tourism, no, I would not say that there is a specific, debacle, let's say, or a bad impact on the fair trade market related to the crisis.
Well, traditionally, Egypt was well known for artists who made a lot of homemade and handmade products. But right now, one of the countries that's very competitive with Egypt is China. I mean, now on the market, when we go out and buy things, a lot of that stuff out there is made by Chinese artists instead of Egyptians. How are you trying to how are you trying to bring Egypt back into the competitive circle with China and other countries who are producing these things cheaper?
Well, actually, first of all, it's not just an Egyptian, let's say, situation, condition, problem. I mean, this one of competing, of the local production with the, then I would not just say the Chinese one, because I don't want to raise this ghost of the Chinese, but in general, let's say, with a very cheap,
but we do see a lot of Chinese products out there.
Production. But, well, basically, it's just two different spheres, let's say. We are not competing just on a price level. It's really a matter of quality, more when it comes with food. There is even for food market, the level of the fair trade that usually comes together with the organic production. So it's not really just competing about the cheapest production or price. It's a matter of quality, of course. But, well, actually, I guess that on the middle and the long term, this difference among the prices is going to be reduced. Because anyway, it's not sustainable. Even this so cheap production coming from whatever country, China or other country, it's not really sustainable on the long term. I mean, it's just a phase that this country are facing in their development, their production cost is gonna rise, of course, because their working class will be more aware, so they will gain as well for better. We will strive as well for a better salary or whatever. So this is gonna increase, and yeah, I guess yeah, it's different. Sure, you cannot compete just on make the cheapest production as you can. And then as well, it's a matter of the quality of the product. You can see when a product is too cheap, then it lasts 2 weeks. I mean, I can see it every day in my life. I want to buy something for the daily life. So you have to buy many in few weeks, or in a couple of months you have to buy 3-4 times the same products. And then when you got to know and to understand that, okay, you can pay something a bit more at the beginning, but then just simply it's lasting much more at the end. It's even from the economic point of view, I mean, it's balanced.
Right, but we didn't talk about COSPE. You didn't tell us about the activities of COSPE.
Well, in general, COSPE is an Italian NGO, as you already said from the interview. We are during the event, and we are working, we are cooperating, let's say, in the emerging countries, as well as we are really committed with our policies in Italy. And because actually we believe that there are now some common fighting or whatever, let's say, we have to engage in some common policies that are really related to what is going on all around the world. And for what is, in general, COSPE is trying to promote kind of fair and sustainable development. Of course, with this word development, it's not really, could be just a label. Well, we like to fill up this word with the inputs that are coming from the community we are working with, because we really believe in kind of a participatory approach for whatever policy we want to design and plan plan together with our partners at a local level. In Egypt, well, in Egypt, COSPE is working since quite long, since the 1998. Wow. And yeah, we have been, let's say, tackling different sectors, but basically our policy goes along two parallel tracks. From one side, just, of course, trying to support people, marginalized community mainly, of course, to improve their livelihoods, so the material standards of their life. So supporting agricultural farmers, artisans, youth and women, I mean, in trying to get some income from themselves. From the other side, together with the livelihoods condition, we invest in promoting the culture of the human rights, of course, investing in the human resource, in the human capabilities, and on the long term, spreading awareness. Of course, much more in this period when it seems that there is more room even for getting involved different stakeholders, new stakeholders into the decision-making process at a community level.
I have a final question for both of you. Both of you mentioned the problems and the obstacles that you're facing with handicrafts here in Egypt and the handcraft artists. So kind of just give us kind of a brief explanation of what you both of your organizations plan to do next in fixing these problems.
What you mean, sorry, with the first trade? I
mean, you mentioned that handcraft artists are having problems and obstacles, facing obstacles here in Egypt right now. How is COSPE and the SIR project, how will they, in this next period, going to try and solve these problems?
Well, I would just say, just a note about what is in general the policy of COSPE toward the fair trade and in this channel, this particular trade channel in general. Actually, we would like to make this fair trade production, and in general this high quality production now, if it's the organic one for the food one or whatever fair trade, not something that is just dedicated to the foreign markets. Because of course the local markets itself and the local consumers, they need to be aware about the benefits of relying on a good quality production, so in general.
No, basically what we are trying to do during this SIR project and for the other coming years, one thing is building partnership with different actors in Egypt. And what we are aiming now is really building relationship with the government, building relationship with business sector, and we believe that having the NGO, civil society organizations, the private sector and the government working together on that direction, this will improve a lot the situation of the handicrafts and artisans in Egypt. This is the first one. The second one is awareness raising. We need to promote more the fair trade concept in Egypt, and this is one of the things that you know, we are not yet, I mean, the concept is not yet promoted well in Egypt. So one efforts that we have to do, and I guess here the media is invited to play a big role on that, is really disseminating the concept of the fair trade at the national level. So Egyptians will be more aware about what is fair trade, and this is maybe the question about the competitions. We are not talking about the same market, it's different niche market, and we are targeting more people to be more social responsible. You know, we need people to be more aware about social responsibility. You buy fair trade products because it's different from the other products. You buy fair trade products because you support artisans. You get good quality. You get quality that lasts for a long time. So it's different concept and different niche market. So I guess this is again another initiative that we have to do, is really educating, raising awarenesses at the national level about the concept of fair trade.
I'm afraid we'll have to thank you very much, Marina Eriko, COSPE representative in Egypt, and of course Mr. Bassem Sarofim, SIR project manager. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with both of your projects.
Thank you.
And with this, we come to the end of the breakfast show for this morning. Hopefully you enjoyed our segments today. Please don't forget to watch us again tomorrow and every other day from 8:30 to 10 with more on the breakfast show. Have a good day.